Hi, this card is the fourth in the series of cards that I made St. Patrick's Day 2017. This card is a very simple design. It's easy to recreate it using your own supplies, and it came together really fast. The outside of the card features a shamrock, which I made from puffy hearts, and some die cutting and some glitter tape. The inside of the card is a very simple watercolored shamrock, and it was very quick and easy to do. I hope you try this card yourself. Let me go over the materials that I use. As always, the materials list will be available under this video. I have a card base 8.5 by 5.5. I have green pattern paper cut 4 inches by 5 1/4. I have a white panel cut 3 3/4 by 5 inches. I have a white square 3 inches, a black square also 3 inches, and a white scrap cut at least 2 inches, and a black scrap also at least 2 inches. For this card, the only ink that I'm going to be using is the Versafine Onyx Black. I have a shamrock stamp that I got from Michael's a long time ago. I don't even remember how long. And I'm using the Stampin' Up Stitch Shapes dies. I've mounted them on a magnetic sheet to hold the dies in place. This set comes with squares, ovals, and circles, and I'm going to be using the largest of the squares. This die set adds a line of stitching around the perimeter of the shape. It's very versatile, and I use it a lot. I have 3 shades of green and 1 shade of gold for watercoloring the shamrock, and I also have my aqua pen to blend out the colors. The stamp set from Stampin' Up is called Afterwords, and I'm using the Lucky You from it. I also am using black rhinestones, gold glitter tape, and I have some puffy hearts that I got from a Sweetheart Valentine mix from the dollar store, and I'm showing you those. And these hearts are really great, and I use them in a lot of things. I'm also using a 1.5 inch circle punch and a 1 inch circle punch. The first thing I need to do is stamp the shamrock sentiment for the outside. I grabbed my stamping mat to give me a little bit of extra support, and I'm stamping this in the Versafine Onyx Black. This ink is a little bit moister than standard dye ink, so it needs a little bit of time to dry out so it doesn't smear as you're moving it around, and that's why I'm shaking it. So I need to punch out the 1.5 inch circle from my black scrap and set that aside. And I didn't have the right size scallop punch, so I decided to just punch out the center of this with the circle punch. But it's easier to do the watercoloring before I punch it out. So as with all the watercoloring, you start with the lightest color and you move to the middle color and then the darkest color, adding the shading as you go. And I'll speed this part up because it's just basic watercoloring. Now I'm setting that aside, and I'm going to do the stamping for the inside panel. I forgot to mention that I have another shamrock stamp for the inside, and I got that from one of the dollar bins somewhere. And I'm also stamping that in the Onyx Black on the stamp mat. And this is a photopolymer stamp, so I have to be careful to go straight down, straight up, and get it straight so it doesn't smear. And I got a little bit extra ink on one side of the stamp, and I didn't think it would stamp very well, so I decided to re-ink it. I'm giving it a little shake to give it a chance to dry off because I don't want to smear it. And now I'm going to stamp the sentiment for the inside. And this one also, the lettering is a little thick, so I have to be careful that I don't smear it or shift it as I stamp it, because then I would get a big mess and have to start all over. So you have to be sure to stamp straight down and straight up. And I held it just another second to make sure that the ink transferred. And because I want to watercolor this, and I have the still moist stamp from the below, I turned it upside down. So now it's the same coloring as before. Now that the coloring is done, I bring in my water pen and I blend out the color, starting with the light yellow. And I clean the brush between colors with a paper towel. Now that I've given it a chance to dry, I'm going to punch out the center of the shamrock using my 1-inch punch. Just being sure that I line it up so that I don't accidentally pick up the outline circle around it, and just give it a punch. Now to adhere the white circle to the black circle. I should have used my Tombow, but I wanted to hurry up for the video. My Tombow is a little dried out, so I just grabbed my tape runner. Hopefully I put enough on it that it'll stick. So you just line it up in the center and press it. Very simple. Now I'm going to partially assemble the card. Taking my bone folder, I press the seam on the card base, and I put adhesive on the back of the inside panel and put it in place, making sure that I line it up straight. And now I want to take the green pattern paper and put the gold tape on it before I put it on the card base. When you're using tape like this, it's a good idea to fold under the edge of the paper, the edge of the tape when you're finished, so that you won't have to fight and try to find the end of it again when you use it the next time. And I got it a little crooked, so I was quick enough that I was able to lift it and start it again. And this time I used my grid mat lines to help me to get it lined up properly, which is what I should have done the first time. And now that I have the tape on, I'm going to tape this down to the card front. I've now brought in my big shot and I'm going to die cut the square. You can tape the shape down to the cardstock if you wanted to, if you're afraid it was going to move, and you probably would have less trouble than I did. As you see, it was moving all over the place, but you don't have to do this step. My magnetic platform actually should have held the die down, but my lower plate is a little bit bowed, so it doesn't engage the magnet very well. But I figured out how to get around it. And it cuts the shape cleanly. I love these die sets. And now to finish putting the card together. I'm mounting the white cutout to the black square mount, being sure that I don't put the tape over where the holes are. It won't ease ooze through, but I still like to make a good habit not to do that. And you have to make sure that you get it straight so that the black mat is evenly around all sides. And I want to pop the circle up with a little bit of foam tape. I could have put a little bit more foam tape on it to give it more support, but I was trying to go quickly through this. And this is just put directly on the glitter tape and press it down. And I also wanted to pop up the square. After I started this, I realized that it probably would have been better not to pop this part up, because now I'm going to have to put a little extra postage on this because it'll be doubly high because of the puffy hearts. But you can do it whichever way you prefer. It wouldn't be a problem unless this card is going to be mailed. So I put 3 pieces to make sure that I got a good spread of support under it. And this shape is just take it and center it in the front between the left and the right side. And once I'm sure that I have it where I need it to be, taking another last look, then I press it down. Now I found for the puffy hearts, it was easier to put them down 2 at a time. So I took the adhesive backing off of one and then got another one and took the adhesive backing off and then adjusted them so that I could put them in place on the square. I'm trying to make sure that I've sort of eyeballed it to the center of the card. And then I turn it upside down and repeat the steps with the other side. And now I want to sparkle up the shamrocks with the Spectrum Noir sparkle pen. You just give it a shake to get the mica flowing, and you just go over where you want it to be sparkly. It doesn't show up in the picture, in the video very well, but in real life it's very sparkly. And I decide to take Stella pen and go over the lettering of the inside sentiment with yellow. This is kind of light and you can't see it very well, but in real life you can really see it. And that's the card. It was really simple, as I promised. And if you didn't have these materials, you could use whatever you had to recreate this design. And I remembered that I didn't put the rhinestones on this card. If you didn't have black rhinestones and you only had clear ones, you can go over clear rhinestones with any color Sharpie and make them to be the color that you want. But I just happened to have the black ones, so it wasn't a problem. And I'm using my tweezers to slide the rhinestone off of the paper, the plastic, and right onto the paper in place of where I want it to be. It's a lot easier than try to pick it up with your fingers and move it. And that's the card finished. I hope you like it. I'm glad you're watching my videos. I hope you will come back again and watch more in the future. And I hope you try this card yourself. Thanks for watching and have a good day.